Karen thinks she can have free use of my truck. A few years ago, I had a side hustle on my days off. My job had a rotational schedule where I worked 2 weeks, then got 2 weeks off. I made plenty of money at my job, but it didn't hurt to make a little extra cash. I was in essence a tour guide, but for the region I lived in. I didn't have any planned tours, but usually just took people to see neat places that they would not know about or think to go to. I was adamant about getting paid up front, and customers signed an agreement saying that made guarantees to protect my truck from messes or damage. Never had any issues, fortunately, and people always enjoyed the places I showed them, except for one family. They seemed friendly enough when I was having them sign a contract and collecting my fee. I should mention my fee was $15/hour plus $75, $35 if it was a half day. This covered a tank of fuel, plus paid for my time shuttling you around. I also kept a cooler with free water and some limited snacks. You were paying for my knowledge of the region, plus knowledge about the area's history and such. Plenty of times I had customers tell me, "I've never seen so much cool stuff in one day. You could maybe find something cheaper," but I didn't care. Once money changed hands with this family, the attitude changed. They began treating me like I was a second-class citizen. But I had their money, so I didn't care. I drove thee around to some of the most beautiful scenery you can find. It's rare people are left speechless by these places, and never have I seen someone not be impressed. Until now, every place I showed them, they just seemed disappointed. One of the places was a ski town popular with a lot celebrities, not Aspen, and they were just like, it's okay. I can't deny I was a little offended by their indifference, but whatever. They were never outright rude during the day, but were surprised when I didn't buy lunch for them. As I said, you're paying for my time. Food is on you. But when I got back to town and dropped them off at their hotel, it got interesting. The wife says you can just park in the back and leave the keys at the desk. Tell them they are for the Smith family. Me. I'm sorry, what? Wife. This truck, just park it in the back. We might use it later.
This is my truck. I'm not leaving it here. That's not part of the deal, wife. Oh, please, there is no way you can own a vehicle like this. It obviously belongs to your company. I do this job self-employed on May days off from my regular job. I assure you, this is my truck. I can show you my name on the title. Seek it, young man. I had just turned 30. If you don't do as you're told, I will be forced to call your boss. Me.
You mean me? I am my boss. Wife, okay, smartass. Get your boss on the phone right now. I thought about just driving off. It's 8 p.m., but then had a better idea. I called my supervisor at my real job. We'll call him Dan. Dan has been in the oil field for 14 years and could be quite the cusser. Good supervisor. He knew what I did on my days off and even sent people my way a few times. He answered, and I just said, "One of my clients is demanding to speak with my boss, so here she is," and handed her my phone. Wife sounding smug. "I tried to tell your driver to leave the truck here so we could use it, but he lied and said he owns it." I could hear him yelling, "Are you ing stupid?" I didn't discern anything else, but I know he gave her a good thrashing. She just walked to the window, handed me my phone, and said, "He wants to talk to you," then walked away. "Boss, that fix your problem?" Me, "Yeah, thanks, Dan." "Boss, anytime, brother." Story 2. Apparently, since my nephew and I are different races, I kidnapped him. Okay, so I'm still pissed about this, like I want to go and find this lady and throw a bat at her head. So, a bit of backstory. I'm a mixed 18-year-old female. I'm also one of 6 kids, and my older sister is 10 years older than me. She had my nephew about 3 years ago, and I absolutely adore him. But you can't tell that we're related. My older sister has a different father to me, and the rest of our siblings, and you can definitely tell. She pale. Blonde hair, blue eyes. And my nephew is the exact same, and he's the cutest little boy ever. So my sister had to work and couldn't get anyone else to watch him, so I offered, like the good sister and aunt I am. I've watched him by myself plenty of times before, and I had nothing better to do. It was a nice day, and I live close to a park, so I thought it'd be a great idea to take him and let him run around and wear himself out a bit before he had to nap. So I grabbed everything I needed, put him in his stroller, and we were off. My parents also knew where we were going just in case there was a problem, and there definitely was. We got to the park about 10 minutes later, and nephew was so excited, he was doing that little kid babbling, and it was adorable. I unstrapped him and off he ran. He knew to stay where I could see him, and I was always about 10 feet behind him just to be safe.
We were there for about an hour before he started to get tired and cranky and needed his afternoon nap. So I gathered his toys and everything else before picking him up. But before I could strap him into the stroller, I heard that signature Karen clearing of the throat. This lady was probably in her mid to late 30s and had been there before I showed up. She had with her 2 little girls, but they were just chilling and said nothing during this whole debacle. Probably used to their mother's banshee screaming. Screaming banshee. Me, motorized enchilada. Me. N, nephew LG. 1, little girl 1, LG 2, little girl 2, F him. Friendly mom, Am. What are you doing with that boy? Getting ready to take him home. It's almost time for his nap. Where is his mother? Me, not here. Look, lady, what are you... So you're trying to kidnap him? Her screeching definitely caught the attention of every other parent around. Me, what? No, this is my nephew, and it's time for us to go home. How can he be your nephew if he's white and you're not? She, for real, said this. After she said that, I just gave her this look of confusion, and even her kids looked at her weird. Me, are you always this stupid, or are you having a bad day? I probably shouldn't have said that, but she was pissing me off. Now, if she wasn't made before now, she was. What did you just say to me? Not only are you trying to kidnap this child, but you also insulting me. She held out her arms. Now give me the child. Me. What? No! Look, lady, I don't know who you are, and I'm defiantly not giving you my nephew, and just because we don't have the same skin tone doesn't mean we aren't related. Before she could say anything back, one of the regulars' park moms came up to us. FM. Opia, what's going on? M. Oh, thank God you're here. She was trying to kidnap this poor child. Fem. What do you mean, EM? This is OP's nephew. I see them and OP's sister here all the time. M. But how can that be her nephew? She's obviously black and he's white. How could they possibly be related? This again sparked a tired and confused look on mine and FM face. FM. OP, why don't you head home? Nephew is obviously tired, and you look like you could also use a nap. Me. Thanks, FM. Say hello to her daughter's name for me. FM. Okay, and say hello to your mom. I went home seething. You only think these sort of people are on bad reality TV shows or Reddit, but nope. I was wrong. I told my sister about this, and she too wants to hit this lady with a bat. Mom is just relieved FM showed up when she did, 'cause I would have fought that lady then and there. Story 3. Proposing at people's wedding is not okay. Backstory. My mom and dad split up when I was 12, and one was happy that they were separated. They were not bad people, they just weren't the right people for each other. My father still hasn't been remarried, though he is dating someone ERN. Don't really like her, but it's my dad's decision. My mom started dating a year after the divorce. She met my now stepfather, SF. He had a son who I became quite close to, considering my biological brother went to live with my dad, while I lived with my mom. So when my mom announced her wedding, we were all excited. So then SF's son becomes my official stepbrother, SB. Okay, we're done with backstory onto the real story. My SB and his girlfriend of 3 years were getting married. Now girlfriend just happens to be my best friend, so I was extremely excited for them. I was chosen to be the maid of honor, and my biological brother, BB, was the best man. We were all that close. My SB's best friend, =sign asshole, was one of the groomsmen. I never really liked Abe because he was a total creep and always tried to hit on me when my SB wasn't there. SB is quite protective, so I didn't tell him, or he would have been arrested for murder. Also, I can stand up for myself. Anyway, once Abe finally got a girlfriend, he stopped annoying me. So during the planning of the wedding, nothing crazy happened. Apart from the normal wedding stress,
we invited almost everyone we knew, and it was going to be great, or so we thought. The big day arrives, and everyone's ecstatic. The ceremony was beautiful, and everything went great. Then the reception came. It was going great. The groom and bride, plus the bridesmaids and groomsmen were all seated at a table at the front of the venue, while the guests were sitting in front of us. So they were facing our table. Everyone was giving speeches and enjoying the food. Then, out of nowhere, A stands up and takes the mic and says he has something important to say. We're all confused, as he had finished his speech but let him talk. I wish we hadn't. He asked his GF to come up to the table, and I already knew where this was going. He starts a speech on how much he loves her and how they were meant for each other. She's smiling, but I think she didn't want this to happen now of all the times. He then kneels down and pulls a ring out of his pocket and asks her to marry him. She say yes. They start running around showing people the ring. All the while, my best friend, BFF, looked like she was going to cry.
My SB and BB were whispering to each other.
I couldn't hear what they were saying. Finally, my mom gets up to remind everyone that this was her son's wedding, and that we should stop talking about someone else's engagement. Everyone was quiet. Suddenly, we hear
Hear this banshee scream. The girlfriend started screaming and crying, saying my mom had ruined her special day. Then A began screaming at us, too, claiming that he did nothing wrong. They got kicked out in the end. My brother lost his best friend that day, but he didn't really care because that idiot lost all his friends. I'm also going to be a bit petty and say that they can even have a wedding because of COVID-19, so hope they're happy.